All right, good morning, Remax Ace. Christine Boland here. We're at Kennedy and Ellesmere. I keep on saying this in my recordings because we're getting lots of people interested in what we're doing here at Remax Ace. Lots of good training, lots of support. So we have some good tractions. And I had some people in my video say you don't even say what brokerage you are. And I said, that's right. I guess since we're posting it, we should say it, right? So today we're going to talk a little bit about loading and editing our listings in Realm. Not all of you will have the capability to do it. So I don't know, have any of you tried to go and add or edit a listing? Do you guys all have access? Do you know if you have access or not?
I don't know if I talked to you guys to add me. Said
Okay. So we'll just go in here real quick. The first thing you can do is check and see if you actually have access to do it. If you don't, after this training, when you can watch, and then I can get Vihisen to turn your permission on if you'd like to try it, okay? Not everybody has that permission just because when you load a listing, you have to be very careful of certain things because you can get into trouble if your information isn't accurate or if you misload a listing. So you want to be really careful what you're doing. But you can check and see if your permissions are there by going to Realm off of your dashboard when you log in. And at the top right here, you see you have this waffle. You're going to click on that. And then you're going to go to listing, add, edit. So when you go to listing, add, edit, if it doesn't look like this, then you probably need your permission turned on. So Sadia, is yours open now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. So if you can, you can follow along by clicking and trying to practice while you're doing it along with me today, or you can just watch what I'm doing and then we can turn the permission on after if you don't have the access in your system, okay? So I wanted to do the listing ad edit for a couple different reasons. Realm is new to us, so a lot of people aren't used to editing their listing in Realm. But also if there's sort of a new process with Realm. Have any of you loaded a listing recently and the front desk has sent you the listing draft? Right? And a lot of people are calling me going, why do I have to sign this? I did my MLS data sheet. Now I got to go back to my client. Right. And we're sort of double doing our work. So we're going to talk about that a little bit when we go into our listing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about adding our listing. Just pretend we get a new listing. You know what? I'm going to pull something up in the area that's currently up just so we can grab information off of it. So let's just clear this search out here. A second, I almost have 16 windows open while doing Zoom. So let's just pull something around the office. So we'll look at Toronto. And then we'll look at EO4. Okay. We're going to look at something that's currently up for sale. Okay. So around the office, we have this 29 North Woodrow Boulevard. So let's just pretend this is the new listing that we have, and we're going to add it to our ad edited in Realm. So the first thing that's really great is before you used to have to look up an old listing and have an MLS number to sort of clone it a little bit. Now you can just look it up like this. So 29 North, whoops. So 29 North Woodrow, what are we, Boulevard? Okay, so it's going to bring something up for us right there, and I'm going to click on it. As long as that's the right address and it's matching, you want to double check because you saw multiple ones came up there until I knew I had the one in Toronto. Okay, so 29 North Woodrow is what we're going to pretend to list today. And then it should say Remax Ace there. And then you're going to pick your information because you're the listing agent. Okay, and transaction type. So be very careful with this. I had to have one of our agents take down a whole listing yesterday because if you mislist it from this point, you can't just go back and edit it. You have to make sure that what you're doing is either freehold, condo, whether it's for sale, whether it's for lease. So once you're past the screen, anything you do in this screen is not editable going forward. Okay, so we make sure you choose it carefully. So we're going to do for sale. And it's going to be residential freehold. Okay. And keep in mind, it's a big deal because if you have to relist it because you posted it wrong, you have to get your client to re-sign everything, right? So residential freehold for sale. And I'm just going to say this is a detached. Let me take a quick look at this and see what this actually is. So this is a detached bungalow. Okay. So residential freehold detached for sale. Okay. And there's no street direction, no apartment number. Good morning. How are you guys? Get a coffee. And the area is Toronto, EO4. It's already chosen for me, clearly Birchmount. You can always go and verify that if you want. Does anybody know how to verify address if you're not sure where it is or you're not familiar with the district codes? Geo Warehouse, you can go there, but I won't tell you whether it's clearly Birchmount or anything. Do you guys ever use the Treb map? Okay, so if you come into Realm, I'm just going to show you really quickly here. This is really good if you're a new agent, especially because sometimes it's hard to think, okay, my client gave me the address 29 North Woodrow, but how do I know where that is? Because Toronto's broken up into all those district, E1 through 11, and then the W's and the C's, right? So you're going to come in here and you can go to your waffle again and scroll down to the bottom. And you have something called the Treb map. Okay. And you can plug in an address in here and you can say 29 North Woodrow Boulevard. And it's going to drop a pin. Now I'm just going to go scroll way, way out so you guys can get a quick idea of what this map looks like. And I'm going to click here on municipalities. So you see here now it's going to tell me that that pin is in EO4, right? And now I'm going to click on communities. And it's going to break it down even further. So I can see that that pin is in EO4 and it is in clearly Birchmount neighborhood of EO4. Okay. So very often when you have your client on the phone and you don't know where to start looking for comparables, even for what their property is or how to load it properly in your listing, this is the way to do it to confirm what code it is, what district code and what neighborhood it is in that code. Okay. So we'll go back now that we've confirmed that. And we know that clearly Birchmount is correct. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click create. So now once I click create, anything beyond this is editable, okay? But I cannot go back and say, oh, shoot, it should be a condo or a parcel of tied land or something like that. I can't go back and do it. So you got to make sure you have that information correct from the beginning, okay?
You're not going to go back like on the map?
Sure.
Yeah. So you went to the waffle.
You go to the waffle. I can go back and do it again.
Yeah,
Hold on.
that's always that struggle.
So I'm going to go and I'm going to X that out. So when you're going to come in, you're going to go to realm. Okay. And once you're in realm, you're going to go to your waffle and scroll down. It's close to the bottom. Okay. And you see it says Treb map. You want the interactive one. Sorry, there's two Treb maps there. One's just a PDF that will print you everything, but you want the interactive one, the one you can type an address into.
Okay, so I get the different. How do I go to that actually? So there's,
Her screen looks different.
yeah, so let's see.
Yeah, Chrissy, can you do it again, please?
Sure, not a problem. So you're going to come in here, right?
Okay.
And you're going to go to the waffle at the top right of your realm screen. You see the waffle here at the top right?
Wait, hold on, I don't see
Near
it.
your avatar, then there's a question mark, then there's the waffle, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so click on the waffle,
Mm-hmm.
scroll down,
Mm.
and the Treb map is in there. So you can come to the Treb map. Okay. And now once you're in here, you can type in whatever address you're working with. So in this case, we're doing 29 North Woodrow Boulevard, right?
Start.
And then I'm going to click search and it drops the pin for me, but I don't know what this is. So you can scroll out. This is even a good thing to study. I mean, just pull up the map and scroll out and pull up the municipalities and everything just to get used to them. But now I'm going to click on municipalities and I'm going to go, oh, look, that pin is in EO4. And then good morning. How are you? Good, good. And then I click on communities and it'll tell me EO4. And now I know it's clearly Birchmount area of that Trev interactive map. Everybody got it?
One second.
Is it good? You're good now? Did you find it?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the ad edit now. And now what I'm going to tell you guys to do is if you are using Matrix, when you go to Sky Slope, use the kit as I've created it. All the forms in there, you can use it, okay? But if you're using Realm, okay, and or if you get the front desk to load listings for you and they're using Realm at the front desk. So those are the two options. If you're using Realm yourself or if you're getting the front desk to load a listing for you. Do not do your MLS data sheet anymore because it's a waste of time, okay? You're gonna wanna go directly in here because this is gonna be your new MLS data sheet, okay? The only exception to the rule is if you are using Matrix in the office and you're loading the listings yourself, okay? If you're using Matrix and you're still getting the front desk to load for you, they're using Realm. Okay, so you guys should keep this in mind that your MLS data sheet is not valid anymore when you're loading in Realm. Okay? Sorry? Did you guys have a question? No? Okay. So the new rule with Realm is that Realm requires you to sign a listing draft when you load in Realm, which is replacing our MLS data sheet for Realm. Okay. Treb is saying we're not requiring both, it's either or to load the listing. Okay. And I'll show you why at the end of this. Okay. Basically, when you fill out your MLS data sheet, you're basically loading a listing. Okay, so you're going to come in here and you're going to look and say, okay, is my assessment roll number correct? How do I check this? I'm just going to go back real quick and I'm going to come back to this waffle and I'm going to pull up my Geo warehouse. Now, again, I can't stress more when you guys are doing a listing, you should always be doing your due diligence and checking your Geo warehouse, whether you're doing an offer or whether you're doing a listing, because you always want to make sure that mistakes have not been made by the prior person who's loaded this listing. Because when we pull up the old information from a listing and we clone it or we pull it up like this, it's taking information off the old listing, right? So I'm going to come here and I'm going to make sure that all my information is correct. So I just like to copy and paste everything again, because then I don't even have to think about it. I know it's the correct information. So I'm going to come in here and take that assessment roll number and I'm going to paste it. Now with this new system, there's very little chance for error because it's pulling the pin and the assessment roll number off of that, but not necessarily like the legal description and stuff. So I have EO4, clearly Birchmount, 29, North Woodrow, Boulevard, and everything with an asterisk is something that has to be filled out, okay? So we come down to this fronting on, east, north, south, west, okay? This is the second notorious mistake I see most agents make. They don't know how to judge where something's fronting on, okay? 50% of the time it's wrong. So we're just gonna come into Google real quick, and the best way to tell which way your listing is facing is go to Google Maps, okay? Do not trust the previous listing. Do not trust the current listing if you're preparing an offer for your client, okay? You should always go to Google Maps and check for yourself. So we're gonna pull up that 29 North Woodrow Boulevard, okay? And we all know top is always north on our map, right? So we have north, east, south, and west, okay? So can anybody guess which is this fronting on? Is this fronting on the north, east, the south, or the west?
West.
Right, okay. Is anybody confused how we came to that conclusion? I have a lot of people confused because it's fronting on the east. I'm sorry, I'm just realizing the pin's on the other side of the road. It's fronting on the east side of the road. So a lot of people would say west because the house is facing west and they go, it's west facing house. It's not quite the same as when we do a condo. The condo, we want to see the exposure. The exposure is we're looking to the east or we're looking to the southeast or whatever the case may be. In this case, you see the house is on the right-hand side, right? This is the east side of the road. The front of the house is on the east side of the road. So it's actually always the opposite way that the house is facing. So if you're standing at the front door, you're on the east side of the road, the house is facing west, right? So the front of the house is on the east side of the road. Is anybody confused by that? Always, I know if you're unsure, you could always ask me, but you just like say, okay, the front of the house, it's if you're standing at the front door and you're looking west, then you know your house is facing on the east. It's kind of always the opposite. That's the best way to do it, right? Okay. So now we're going to go to lot front and lot depth. So again, I'm going to go to my geo warehouse. I do not go to the previous listing. I can't tell you how many agents round up. If this said 24.91, they'd put 25, but you are incorrect. Because for instance, it's a huge mistake. If your client is planning on adding a garage or putting in a sunroom extension on their property, and they're banking on that, and they bought, and it's 24.91, and they go to the city, and you put 25 on their offer, right? And you didn't check the geo warehouse, and the minimum lot requirement is 25. Now they're not getting approved. They're going to come back to you as the buyer agent. You cannot, I can tell you how many RICO complaints I've responded to for agents, not just this office, past office for so many years. You can't say, but it was on the listing. It's the listing agent's fault, because the first thing RICO asks you is, what did you do for your due diligence? So you have to prove, look, I checked Geo Warehouse and it also says 2025, right? Or something to that effect. So you got to make sure you always come in here and check. So in this case, it's 25 by 140 for this listing. Okay, and that's feet, right? And then is it waterfront? No. If you click yes on this, it'll make this waterfront section a mandatory section to fill out. There's additional things to fill out on there. Okay, and that's all it for the location amount on this tab. And we're going to go to the next tab, to the amounts and dates. So we're going to say the list price is $9.99 just for quick sake today. And the HST is going to be included in our sale because we're doing a regular resale residential. Okay. And the taxes, again, I don't know what the taxes are for this prop. Well, I guess I could check it up. But what you should be doing is you should always be asking your client for their tax bill. Because if your client says, oh, yeah, I think my taxes are $4,300, and you just put in $4,300, again, huge problem. If the buyer is closing and you put that wrong information in and it's $43.50 and 82 cents, you know, they might turn around and argue that you have to pay that now because you put wrong information in your listing. And that might come out of your commission at the end, right? So you want to make sure you're putting your actual amount, 43.52 and 91 cents, whatever your client has. And you'll see that TREB only allows us to use 2023 or 2024. So you'll see closer to the end of this year, at the beginning of 2025, that 2023 will disappear, because they realize that everybody has their new tax bills and their full information for 2024. So we shouldn't be using 2023 anymore. So let's just imagine this is 2024. And the contract commencement. So this is another problem I have. I want you guys to land more listing appointments. I have noticed that a lot of newer agents lose listing appointments because they go in and they want to sign the paperwork with their client today, right? Sign the paperwork. And my client goes, you know, I'm not ready. I really, you know, I want to paint and I want to like clean out the garage first. So, you know, maybe we'll list after next weekend. I'll be ready after next weekend. Okay. You should be signing all your listing agreements. And I would bring up paperwork now, but I want to get through the realm stuff today. On your paperwork, it says contract commencement. Okay. So you could put today, signing today, the paperwork, let's say 2 weeks from now is September 10th. Here you could put on your paperwork September 10th and still have your client sign today. Because what you're doing is you're agreeing with your client that this listing will be loaded and live and ready to show on September 10th. It doesn't mean you walk away from that listing appointment not getting the paperwork signed. Your paperwork can still say August 27th, but the commencement on that first line of your paperwork can say September 10th. Okay. So I find a lot of people walk away. Don't do that. In those 2 weeks' time, you never know what'll happen. You know what I mean? Even your best friend, your cousin, you'll turn around and a week later they'll go, oh yeah, you know what? My friend told me someone at their work was a really good agent and I listed with them. You know what I mean? Because they're ready to list. So grab that signature every time I get that commencement date. It doesn't matter. Because I've had so many agents say, well, I didn't get it signed because they're not ready to list right now. That's okay. You sign it for that date that they're ready to list, right? And then possession date and possession remarks. So it's an either or here. You can either put in an actual date. So if they have to close by October 31st, fine. Or in the remarks, you can put, TBD, TBA, so to be determined, to be announced. And once you do that, it'll take away, see the asterisk for the opposite one. So this is an either or. Oh, and sorry, I forgot to put expiry date here. So you have a minimum expiry date. I think that the least you're allowed to load is 60 days on TREB. So if you have those clients that say to you, look, I just want you to try it for 2 weeks and then, get out of here, you say, fine, no problem. But my minimum listing requirement on TREB is 60 days. I'm going to sign that. If you want to cancel in 2 weeks, you got to sign a cancellation form because it won't let you load anything. See, I'm loading today. It won't let me load anything less than November 9th as an expiry date. Okay. And then the holdover days. The holdover days, you could put 90, 120. Is anybody confused what a holdover day is? I find this is another thing that we're not really understanding. Do we all understand the holdover day?
For example, if a client bring a customer and then they cannot sell to that within that 90 days with some other agents who brought the client to show that property.
After your expiry.
After
Yeah. So we've put November 9th as an expiry date on this contract. That means for 90 days after November 9th, I still have claim to commission if somebody comes that I can prove that I introduced them to the property through my marketing, somebody that I showed the property to, somebody that came to my open house, somebody that did a phone called me or I was texting with about the property. If they come 90 days after the expiry of my listing. This came into play because what was happening is people were saying, hey, you know what, my listing's expiring in a week. Why don't you come back next week and we'll do the deal and then I don't have to pay commission to this agent I've been using, right? So all your work that you've done has gone out the window. So that's why the holdover days came into play. And then the seller name, you're going to want to go to your Geo warehouse and you're going to want to check and see that you have the correct people's names. So even though you're maybe sitting with Rubaiyat, maybe, you want to make sure that both people are present who are on title to sign your listing. You're going to come in here, you're going to make sure that's correct. So again, you want to do that when you're doing an offer. You want to come in and check your Geo warehouse and make sure that even though the listing only has one name, are there two names on there, right? Or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever. Okay. Then we're going to come to the exterior. So a lot of this is basic information. You're going to have to ask your client if you're unsure, because there's some new fields on here. Like, I don't know if you've loaded your listing lately and the front desk has called you and said, what kind of shingles are they? Or what kind of foundation? Some of these are new fields that we never had to fill out before. So you really have to take the time and get to talk to your client about the property. One of the best ways to do that is take the SPIS form that's on our Sky Slope forms. Now, I never load them on my listing, but sometimes I use them because it reminds you of questions to ask your client, like when was the roof done last? Any defects, that you want to tell me about? What's the exterior? What's your foundation? Stuff like that. So it's helpful to fill out this part because sometimes we're unsure. So is the property a link? Yes or no? So right now we're not dealing with a link. Is it a parcel of tied land? No. Again, if you click yes, it'll open up some information. You see it brings up the parcel of tied land monthly fee and stuff like that. But in the meantime, we're just going to click no. Is it an assignment? Is it fractional ownership? The style, we saw there was a bungalow on the listing. Okay. Here we go. The exterior, what is it? I think it lets you pick 2, right? So you could say brick and maybe there's some aluminum siding on it as well. Exterior features is not a necessary thing, but you can put it on there if you find. The more information you put is helpful as long as it's accurate information. So don't be careful. You're not putting that there's, I don't know, like a pond or something when it's not really a private pond. It's a mutual pond by the neighborhood or something like that. foundation details. Here we go. Is it concrete block or is it poured? Most of the time we're coming into poured concrete. Don't take my word for that though. You got to make sure. Shingles, again, what kind of shingle do they have? We're just going to say asphalt for now. Again, most of this is not crazy information, but you should be making sure it is correct. We actually just took a listing recently where they put a carport. I don't think the agent understood what a carport was because it was a detached garage. And I was like, this is terrible. Why would you put a carport? It's like devaluing the property for this client. So let's just say this is an attached garage, right? And here we go. How many parking spaces? So we have this total here. This is like rooms when we go through. The next one we'll see. So we're going to say the garage holds 2, right? And it's a private double driveway that holds 2. So that makes a total of 4 spaces, right? I see so many crazy things on listings, like so they'll put 2 and 2 and end up with 6, or they'll put 2 and 2 and end up with 2 here. And I'm going, I don't understand how many parking spaces are in this place, right? This is the total amount that you can park between the garage, the additional shed, say, and the driveway and everything all together. So, and then the water, most of the time we're dealing with municipal. Again, be very careful, especially if you guys are listing, you know, in like Cliff Crest area, Guildwood area, some of the older pockets, neighborhoods around here. Some of those are still on well and septic, even though 10 houses this way and 10 houses this way are on municipal. Don't assume, because the one in the middle maybe didn't switch over the years because it's still on well and septic. So over the years, like back when I was a kid, a lot of that area was cottages because it's near the water and stuff. They were cottage properties. Now they're nicer neighborhoods because they've been converted over the years and hooked up to the municipal, but they were cottage country. So be very careful whether it's well and septic or municipal. And then we're going to go here and it's probably sewer, but again, double check whether or not you have a pool. And I think that's all for information on this page. The good thing is though, if you're not sure if you've filled out everything, this is fantastic because you can always say validate and I can see what I'm missing. So see, let's go back and see what I'm missing on location here. Oh, legal description. I talked about it, but I didn't copy paste it. So I'm going to go and copy paste it here. Fantastic, because I don't know if you guys are familiar loading in our old system, but it was a pain. You had to go through and see where the little red star was. This makes it so easy to go back and see what you've missed in each field. And then exterior, what did I miss here? Oh, special designation. So is it a heritage building? Is it a century home? Most of the time we're saying unknown. I'm still missing something. Oh, location. So what are the cross streets? I'm not sure for this one exactly, but I'm just going to put Kennedy and Ellesmere. I find also this is another thing where I see some other people listing, not necessarily our agents, just listings in general, where they put something really remote that you don't understand. So the purpose of this is to give people a quick idea of where this property is. So while you don't want to go far, far away from the property, you don't want to put something that is unknown. Like for instance, I'm at Scarborough Golf and Ellesmere, okay? But technically when you enter my street, the little one house street there is called Helicon. So I would never put Helicon and Portico. People are like, I don't know where that is. I would put Scarborough Golf and Ellesmere if I was listing my property, right? So try to make it something that's really well known because the public's just looking on realtor.ca and your job is to try to just pull them in to see the listing. So don't put something obscure there. All right. Number of rooms. How do we count number of rooms, guys, for listing? So number of rooms, total number of rooms in a house. So I'm going to say I have a living room. I have a dining room. I have a kitchen. I have 3 bedrooms upstairs, right? So for this house, let's just say we have 6. But what if we had a family room and we'd add like a 7th? What if, I don't know, we had an office on the main floor, right? We keep on adding to that for anything above grade. So in this case, I'm just going to say we have 3 bedrooms and a kitchen and a living and a dining room. So we're going 6. And then downstairs, we have a 2-bedroom apartment that has a kitchen and a living. There's no dining down there. So I'm going to say +4. Okay. And then for bedrooms, I'm going to say 3 because we talked about that 3 upstairs and the 2 downstairs. And there's going to be 1 kitchen upstairs and 1 kitchen downstairs. Okay. Again, a lot of things mislisted out there. They're saying 5 bedrooms. When you walk in, it's not a 5-bedroom, it's a 3 plus 2. Anything above grade, anything you're counting in the square footage, that's going to be your first. Your plus is anything below grade. Okay, or anything in addition to that's not where the regular bedrooms are. So I guess it's not always above grade. Sometimes you might have one that has 4 bedrooms upstairs and something on the main floor. You could list 4 plus 1 for that. Okay. And then the washrooms, we're going on. Washrooms, again, I see so many things. What is a 2-piece washroom? What's in a 2-piece washroom? Toilet and sink, right? 2-piece washroom. What's in a 3-piece washroom? Yeah, toilet, sink, shower. Okay. What is in a 4-piece washroom? Yeah, toilet, sink, shower, tub, right? And then you go on anything additional from that. If you have jacuzzi or if you have different things happening in your washroom there, you can go on from there. All right, interior features. If it wants to click. Okay, so this is a new and interesting one that I've kind of been like, I don't know why they really made this mandatory, but I guess they want us to go in a little bit and try and tell a little bit more about the property. So you really have to scour this list. I have some listings that are really basic. I've had trouble, like, is it carpet free? No, it doesn't have central act. It doesn't have a built-in oven. I find the ones I'm using a lot of the times is floor drain. There's almost always one in the basement. A lot of people have on-demand water heaters now. You can go and you can try and pick whatever you can here. But again, I don't know why they made this field mandatory. It's never mandatory before. Okay. Family room. What's a family room? No. So if I have a kitchen, living, dining, like I was talking about, and 3 bedrooms, am I clicking off that I have a family room here? No. Right? Okay. A family room, they're talking about something in addition to your regular living room. Okay. So you can think of any Scarborough houses that you've been to where they have the regular kitchen, living, dining, and a lot of them have it off to the side or sunk in, or they made one in their old patio area. I'm sure you guys have been through lots of Scarborough homes like that. A lot of the new builds have them, right? But I mean, dealing in our pocket, we're not always dealing with a family room. A lot of new builds have that additional room though, right? They have the formal, say, like living room, and then they have the family room where that you put your TV and your fireplace. Generally, you see them at the back of the house, right? What's the difference between a family room and a great room? When we see somebody put a great room, what does that mean to us? Sorry? Sorry? No, not really. What?
Bedroom is on the 2nd floor with the bedrooms. There is all.
I think I'd still consider that a family room. When we see great rooms, now I think the term is being used more broadly, but when it first came out, our understanding was always that it's those living rooms that are the 2 floors of the house. You know, normally you can see up and there's the railing for the 2nd floor. We always call those the great rooms, right? So I just see the difference, like they're being loosey-goosey used these days, but I mean, when people take family room and I walk in and there's only a kitchen, living, and dining room, as far as I'm concerned, that's a mistake. The only reason it's a separate field is because you want to know that in addition to your living room, you have this family room, right? Okay. And then the basement, of course, you want to pick out the things that are most important, right? So, you know, separate entrance, finish. That's our gold bunny right there, because we want to show that they, you know, maybe it's a rentable space or a usable space for in-laws. Whether or not you have a fireplace or stove. So we'll just say yes. And again, we're going to go gas, forced air, and just come through this really quickly because these spots are really, you know, depending on what kind of house you're listing. So not a biggie. Okay, room levels, room type. I'm not going to go through them, but I want to caution you guys that we list everything in meters, even though it displays on realtor.ca in feet. If you load in feet, your width and length are going to be terribly wrong when people are looking at them online. So you want to make sure you're converting everything to meters. A lot of us are just using laser measures nowadays when we go to check our listings. So you can make that say meters for you, but always load in meters and try to put as much description as you can for the rooms. But other than that, just make sure that your information is accurate. Don't use previous listing information. Again, that agent maybe didn't measure or round it up or down or whatever the case may be. Okay. And now we come to the comments. So what are the difference between all the comments? Remarks for clients. This is what you're writing to draw in the client. Try not to reiterate what's in your listing. Everybody knows that, it's a 3-bedroom, 3-washer. You might throw it in, but you want to get stuff like what kind of neighborhood is it in? What kind of renovations they've done? Things that we can't put in those other fields, right? Really draw the person in. Extras. What's an extra, right? Things that aren't necessarily a chattel or a fixture that are extra that are being left behind, and maybe they don't expect, like, I'm leaving the barbecue, I'm leaving this gazebo, I'm not dismantling and taking it with me, right? I'm leaving, there's I don't know, a sauna in the house, stuff like that. Inclusions. So what's included? Fridge, stove, washer, dryer, built-in dishwasher, right? Exclusions, very, very important. Ask your client what's being excluded. Don't do it after the fact. We just had people arguing over 2 chandeliers last week, and it was hilarious because they're not even that crazy. Like, I mean, I'm not saying anything about our client. Don't let her look online, but they're not that crazy expensive. And we're going, what? So we had to go back to the buyer, and the buyer is fighting with the seller, and it was kind of a nightmare. And we're like, you should have told us this beforehand, right? So ask your client. Rental items, try to not just put hot water heater. I try to literally ask my client, what is it? So if you look on a lot of our listings, it'll say hot water heater, Enercare, $26.65 a month, right? So you want to try to be specific about that. A lot of people might think, oh, hot water heater, and then get surprised at the end and go, oh my God, why is it $65 a month? Well, your client went and got a super duper on demand, something or other, whatever, right? So not just your basic water heater. And then the remarks for brokerages. So what is this? This is remarks that only us can see agent to agent when we put it online. The public can't see it. So this is how we're going to communicate to other agents. Dog on property, don't let the cat out, lockbox, no showings after 9, tenanted property, I don't know, whatever else you want to put on here. If you have a bid date or whatever you want to put. Okay. And then we go here. So it always makes you enter your phone number. Okay. If you are working with a buddy or a partner, you can add their name on here as well. Okay. Commission to the co-op brokerage. So try to be specific. So 2.5% plus HST, right? I know the office is taking, like, we're doing the minus $199 marketing fee as well. So this is where you'd put it in. And then whether you have a seller proper information sheet, okay? Distribute to the internet. So that's going to be like, can I distribute it, on the internet here? Can I put the address on the internet and the listing on the internet? So yes, I want them both on the internet. Distribute to DDF IDX. Okay. Why do they ask us this? Like, what is it? Like, why do we have to click yes or no for this? What does it mean to us? Right. So this is for anybody who subscribes to get the feed on their website. So whether you have a personal website, which we all do through KV Core, we have our website, it's subscribed to DDF and IDX. Zillow, Zolo, House Sigma, any other realtor who has that, any other company who has that, who subscribes to the Toronto Real Estate Board and wants this DDF IDX feed, okay? So most of the time we're saying, yeah, because I think it wants massive exposure, right? I want massive exposure for my client. Brings everybody in. When do you want to click no? Okay, so I had a client years ago who said to me, I do not like House Sigma. They're saying my house is worth $889, and I think that's really low. And why would you post it on there? And she was, barking and yelling at me. And I said, whoa. I said, I don't. But I said, we signed the document and it says that we're distributing to DDF IDX. I'll turn it off. You just got to come back in here in your listing and turn it off. If your client has an issue with their listing being on anything other than Remax, right? Realtor.ca, Treb, right? That's what you're posting on. But if you click this off, it won't appear on any of those. It won't appear on anything that subscribes to that.
It's already listed.
It'll turn it off. because it's a feed, it's a live feed. So it'll update and it'll come off that feed, right? Because it's reading off of what we're loading, right? So we click no, it'll shut it off, right?
So if you go to the editing, so you can change this.
Yeah, yeah. That's why it's important to get access to this, go in and practice, and get it turned on if your realm isn't turned on, your ad isn't turned on, because you want to have access to this. Because say your client's yelling at you at 10 o'clock at night, front desk is closed, you're not going to fix that till the morning, right? Whereas you could just log in quick and go click off if you have the capability to know how to go and add and edit your listings. Okay, and then permission to contact listing broker to advertise, yes or no. Okay, so this is just saying whether you want someone to contact you to advertise or not. You can still say no if they contact you, right? So I almost always say yes. I had that power of sale recently. People were contacting me and I said no, actually, because the bank has really strict guidelines on how we have to advertise it. So unfortunately, I'm going to say no to you guys, but any other listing, contact me and I say yes again. Because again, I believe mass exposure, fine, go advertise it. Some agents don't like it. Some agents say, I don't want that guy to look popular. Like he has all this listings and it's my listing. And so you can say no. It's 100% your choice as the listing agent. Okay, and then occupancy, again, whether it's owner, tenant, vacant, contact after expired. Do you want your client to be contact after expired? So our client has the choice. We have to give them a choice. People almost always say no. We had one person say yes recently, which was really strange. He was like, I don't mind if agents call. And I was like, well, I kind of do, but okay, if you want yes, it's fine, right? So click no. And then here you can put your virtual tour. If you have links to any brochures or anything you've done for the property, any marketing, you can put it in there. And then your photos get loaded in here. You can drag and drop them really easily. You can sort them at this spot. Just remember, you can't use anything with your logo or anything promoting yourself with it. Okay. And then the attachment. So if you're loading listings yourself, you can do one of two things. You can ask the front desk to put the Schedule B in there or the 801 or anything else you want loaded in there. Or you can always email them or ask them, we'll send you guys a copy of whatever the updated Schedule B is. But here's where you can upload your Schedule B, if you have floor plans for your property, if you have, I don't know, any other marketing material. Maybe there's a drawing plan for, a garden shed in the back that they got a permit for. You could include that in here to help with the sale, right? So you can do all of that. All right. Any questions about all of that so far about loading? Some of it I just brush past because it's just quick things. You have to know what the property is, but the important ones I pause are the ones that you should be going and checking your geo warehouse and all the information on and verifying with your client, like the taxes and whatnot, right? Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we saved our draft, fine. We're gonna go to preview and we're gonna go to generate. There is that listing draft that our front desk has been sending us, right? So now you guys, you would have done your whole MLS data sheet. And I don't know how many of you actually load your listings on your own. You guys online can answer if you do. So I was not only doing my MLS data sheet, but I load all my own listings, right? A lot of us, which isn't bad. I mean, a lot of us do our MLS data sheet, then we hand it to the front desk and then they load it, right? This is streamlining everything. This is eliminating it. So I love it. So whether you do it yourself or whether you send it to the front desk, either way, you're going to have to double do something. If you do your MLS data sheet, you're going to get everything signed from your client. You're going to send it to the front desk. They're going to load the listing and they're going to send you this, which still needs to be signed by your client. So you might as well just load and take this to your client to sign. You're not making the listing live. The listing isn't live yet. You just have the listing preview with this listing draft. Okay. But the beauty of it is when you come home from your listing appointment and you've got all your paperwork signed, right? You have to do one of two things. You either have to sign it and give it to the front desk, in which they're going to load the listing, or you just come here and you're going to load the listing yourself. So it's not giving me the option to load the listing yet because I didn't finish all the stuff. So let me just put some stuff in here to see if I can bring that button up for you guys. But it's so easy after you've done all of this to get your listing loaded. So let's say there's a lockbox on property. Okay, So from here now, if I go next, it's gonna say you want to load this listing, and I can click submit and make this listing live. So it's as easy as that when you come up for your listing appointment. It's just 2 clicks and you have a live listing. You don't have to come and work on the whole listing. Right. So I'm going to encourage you guys, like I said, if you're the 2 scenarios are if you're working in Realm and you're loading in Realm, or even if you're working in Matrix, but if you're handing the front desk the listing to load, they load in Realm. So they're going to ask you to sign this listing draft no matter what. You're going to have to go back to your client. So it's going to save you guys the time to go in the add edit and pull the listing draft instead of your MLS data sheet to your appointment. Yeah.
So the client has to sign this paper? Either we can send it by email or.
Yeah, you can send it by e-signature. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So upload it in the SkySlope form and then.
Yeah, you can upload it into your kit in SkySlope. So what you can do is I'm going to have my kit. I'm not going to do the MLS thing, but I'm going to go and I'm going to say download. So then I just have it here in my downloads, right? Save. And then I'll just take that PDF and pull it into my SkySlope kit. And then you'll have this if you're sending your e-signature. Yeah. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? How's everybody online? Who's loading their own listings? You guys loading your own listings? Yeah, good. It's a good practice. You know, just because you load your own listings, it doesn't mean you have to do it all the time. Try and do it, especially when you're not busy, and get used to it, because if you have to do something last minute or you have to edit your listing, it's good to know how to do it. It doesn't mean that just because you load your own listing 3 times, now I'm really busy, you can't hand it to the front desk. The front desk is there 100% of the time to support you guys if you're busy and you can't do it, right? But I encourage you for the next couple of times you do your listing to try it, because then at least you know how to do it, right? You have control of your listing that way. And don't forget, you should be letting the front desk load your listing, but you should be verifying your whole listing at the end of the day. You should be going through and make sure everything's wrong, because even if there's a clerical error or if there's a mistake in the listing, it's not the front desk's fault because they're not licensed. There are support staff, right? You guys are still responsible with your license for all the information in that listing. So you should have the capability and the know-how how to go in and fix your listing, edit it, make sure it's good, you know, and know what it's like to load it up. So, right. Very good. I was saying before everybody joined, and I know I don't know if I was online yet, if I was unmute. You know, we've had weird market in the last year and a half. And if you're a newer agent, it's tough to experience. But if you can make it now, you're going to make it really well when things are back to normal. But normally we have our spring market where we really like thrive. I will say it's feast and famine in real estate, right? And then things die down, you know, July, August, we find a lot of closings are happening. Nobody's really buying. Now, September, October, November is our next spike in our market. Our fall market is the next strongest market, right? So focus a little bit and try and give a good push for the end of the year to get your listings, you know, because there's lots of people looking to move before, you know, Christmas comes, before New Year comes, before it's really heavy snow and ice in January and February. So this is the time. This is the time to get some more listings for sure. You know, even if you find you're really slow right now, hopefully you're not in the next couple of weeks once the kids go back to school. Right? All right, everyone. Thank you very much. You let me know if you have any questions. Everybody online good?
Yes,
Okay,
we are good.
good.
This is my daughter's ID, so you'll see the Aisha, no?
Oh, okay, who is this?
This is Sadat.
Oh, hi, Sarah. How are you?
Okay.
That's nice. I've seen Aisha come up on the training before, so now I know who it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Sometimes
I
I
know.
don't know who the ID is online.
I just realized later on because I like to log into like a realm another computer. That's why I use my daughter's uh, laptop for the meeting.
No worries, no worries. Take care, everybody. Have a good week.
You too, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.